you can actually connect a rubric directly to a grade item in the grade tool. So if I go to Course Tools Grades, I'm in a sandbox that doesn't have a completed 100% gradebook yet, but the assumption is that you would by this point in the semester. And let's say I have a new item called Written Assignment 2 that I plan to use this rubric for. When you're either creating that grade item, or if I'd already created this and I'm just returning to edit the grade item, this is the screen that I would see when you edit it. And if you scroll down, you can see that there's an Add Rubric button here. And now that that rubric exists and it's published, I can see it listed in my possible options. So Written Assignment New, I would say, yes, that's the one I want to add. Click Add here. And I'm going to be able to use this rubric to apply scores for my students. And they'll still see the rubric as feedback and any comments that I add in addition to the overall number that it generates in the grade tool. I want to point something out as well in terms of having the grade item match the total points of the rubric. Remember when we made this rubric, it added up to 25. If for some reason, whether I changed plans partway through the year, or I've inherited this course and it just wasn't quite set up the way that I would have expected, it's possible that the grade item might have a different maximum points than the rubric. And that's actually going to be okay. The system is going to convert the number for you. I say it's okay. It would be better if the numbers just matched. It would be better if this was out of 25 as well. But I'm going to show you what happens if it's not. I'll leave it at 10. And if I click Save and Close, here I am on the Manage Grades screen, Written Assignment 2. Something I'm a bit frustrated by, the system doesn't show you that this rubric is attached now. I would maybe expect to see that here under the association column, or perhaps an icon to the right of the title of this grade item, and it's just not there. If you've inherited a course, really the only way to even know whether or not a grade item might have had a rubric already would be to either go back in to edit and scroll down and see if it's attached here, or when you actually go to enter grades, I'll show you how you would actually access that rubric. So that's what I'll do next. So let's just say I return a week later after students have all given me their work. I would go to Course Tools Grades. From the Enter Grades screen, even here for Written Assignment 2, there's no really clear way to jump straight into the rubric, right? It's not obvious that it's there. But if I click on the arrow next to the column title, I go to Enter Grades. Normally, you would just see an input area here where I can give them a score out of 10. But now that I have a rubric associated, I have a new column called Assessment. And clicking on this icon will allow me to open the rubric for this particular student. My workflow for this is pretty much always open it and then make it bigger, just so that I actually can see the final column and everything like that. But I can see now for this student, I have a grid that I can click through and provide points. In addition to the points, this is where you can also add the personalized feedback. So when I click Add Feedback, I can add a comment here, excellent argument, I was convinced. And this, just like when we created the rubric, this is saving as I go. So every time I type in, every time I check a box or change a box, it's saving this. It's not saving it and releasing it, but it is saving it in the system. So if I left and wasn't done yet, it would basically be a draft right now. I wanted to point out as well that you can change, you can do 4.5, right? What does the system do? Well, you click over here into the 4, and I can add, decimal 5, and that's fine. The score has been overridden, but you'll notice that it does automatically apply to this running total as well. I didn't have to do any math, which is really nice. And again, now that I've filled this out, the student's going to see which boxes I checked. They can read the descriptions within those boxes once I had filled all those in. And they say their personalized feedback and the running total. The amount of time that I think you'll spend creating the rubric online, like bringing that rubric online, is time that you'll get back in the grading workflow, because now I don't have to potentially do a bunch of scores on paper, add them all up in my head. record that score again online so that it gets added to the final calculated total. And now that I'm here, if I didn't want the student to see this score and see this feedback yet, then I would click Save Draft. If I click Save Draft, there's actually, again, no visual indicator here that I've already filled out the rubric for this particular student. But if I open it again, all of my comments and boxes that I've checked will be populated again. The one thing I'll say though about grading directly in the grade tool, if your plan is to keep them all as draft because you wanted to grade everyone before you released the scores, in the grade tool, there's no way to release all of these in bulk. You're just going to have to go in to each rubric again and click the publish button. And that's pretty tedious. I'll say though that most of the time I think you'll end up using a rubric in the assignment tool anyways, and there is a nice workflow there for bulk publishing all of your rubrics, all of your scores at once. But I did want to show you that you can cut out the assignment folder if it's really not necessary and just go straight into the grades tool.